Welcome. My name is Donald Sull, and in this, the second of our three-part series on strategy as simple rules, we're going to dig into what are simple rules and how do you make them work in practice in your own organization. Now, in the last podcast, we talked about three logics of value creation: resource, position, and opportunity, and how many organizations, many managers today are very interested in creating value through seizing opportunities because they want to grow revenues, for instance, or because they're participating in volatile markets. But then the question on the table is this: how do you seize opportunities through a large, complex organization? And the answer we'd like to talk about is the approach called strategy as simple rules, an approach that grows out of a paper and some research that I did with Professor Kathleen Eisenhardt at Stanford, and looked at, the research grew out of looking at companies that were very successful at seizing opportunities in very volatile, fast-moving, uncertain markets. So we'll focus in on how to put strategy as simple rules into practice in your own organization. So at one level, strategy as simple rules is very, very simple. It starts with choosing a process that puts your organization into a flow of opportunities. So a way to think about this is imagine a stream with a lot of fish in it, the fish being the opportunities. The first thing you do is choose the process, like the river, that puts your organization in a flow of opportunities, like the fish. So typical processes that organizations select include new product development, brainstorming processes, acquisitions. There are a host of different processes that can put an organization into that stream of opportunities, get those fish swimming past it. So that's the first step. The second step is around selecting a small number of simple rules, typically 5 to 7, that allow your organization to seize some of those opportunities while letting others swim by. So a way to visualize that is think of the simple rules as a net that you weave to drop into that process. And that net allows many opportunities to swim past, but captures the ones that you really want. Now, what then do these simple rules look like in practice? It turns out there are 5 categories of simple rules that organizations use to capture opportunities and let others swim by. The first one is around picking. Choosing which opportunities. This is the obvious one. So at Miramax Studios, for instance, they use a small set of simple rules to choose which of the many screenplays they see they actually produce in a given year. And those are rules around, for instance, having a character that's attractive but fatally flawed, or flawed at least, think Shakespeare in Love, that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, although that sequence isn't always followed in exactly that order. So they have a small set of rules to help them pick which screenplays to make into movies. The second set of simple rules is around prioritization. So imagine, for instance, you've got an almost uncountable number of potential capital expenditures that you could make, limited resources. Simple rules can help you to make those hard choices about which projects to fund and which to put near the bottom of the pile. The third set of simple rules is around process, how you pursue an opportunity rather than which ones to pursue. Now, if you look at the design company IDEO, for instance, they have a small set. The process they've chosen is around brainstorming new designs. And in the rooms that they use for this brainstorming process, they actually have 7 simple rules posted on the walls around, for instance, going for quantity of new ideas and being very visual in their presentation, for instance. So a set of simple rules that don't determine which ones you choose, but rather how you pursue the process, in this case, of brainstorming. The fourth set of simple rules is around pacing, how you determine the timing of new product development, for instance. And Nortel used a set of simple rules to get the timing right for their new product launches. And fifth and finally, simple rules around pulling out, deciding when to get out of opportunities. So the Danish hearing aid company Oticon, for instance, had a set of simple rules that they used to decide not which new products to get into, but which new product development projects to kill or terminate. So, strategy as simple rules allows organizations, once they've put themselves, by selecting a process, into a flow of opportunities, to weave a net that captures many of those opportunities while letting others swim by. The advantages of this approach, we would argue, are threefold. One, it allows you to strike a balance between too much structure, think voluminous strategy documents, and utter chaos. The simple rules just strike that balance right. Secondly, strategy as simple rules, to the extent they're clear and concrete and well articulated, can be transmitted throughout the organization and provide guidance to people without having to always be looking over their shoulders and seeing what they're doing. So it can help you to delegate your strategy. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, strategy as simple rules helps to make explicit what might well be implicit anyway. So in most processes, in most organizations, they're following some implicit set of heuristics, but often those heuristics are not the best ones. So by taking those implicit heuristics, making them explicit, articulating them, and examining them, management has an opportunity to crystallize a set of simple rules that are more productive and more helpful than the ones that are implicitly there. So in this podcast, we talked about how to put simple rules into place in your organization, but it's not quite that simple. There's one twist. Many organizations, even after they put simple rules or in the process of putting simple rules into place in their organization, fall prey to one of 5 pitfalls. And in the next podcast, we'll talk about what those 5 pitfalls are and how you can avoid them. Thank you.